Why do you want to climb the Mount Everest? Because it's there. May 1st, 1999. An expedition led by American climber Conrad Anker discovered the body of George Leigh Mallory on the north face of Mount Everest. Mallory's body was found at an altitude of 8,157 meters, about 300 meters below the summit ridge. Discovery of Mallory's body reignited one of the biggest debates and arguably the biggest mystery in mountaineering. There is always more history than meets the eye, for the most interesting parts are often untold. Apt lines signifying the elusive nature of history. What is history? For us, what we have read or known is history, but it is often just a dichotomy of the so-called fact. The philosophy around unknown achievements challenges us to redefine success, focusing on the intrinsic values of actions rather than external validation. Mount Everest, a name that transcends its physical reality as the world's tallest peak. It represents a symbolic summit, a beacon for climbers and adventurers, with thousands attempting to summit each year. Standing at 8,849 meters, it is the highest peak on Earth and considered unconquerable until Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay achieved the impossible in the year 1953. But were they actually the first to reach the summit, or was it someone else? September 2024. More than 25 years after discovering Mallory's body, a National Geographic team led by famous climber Jimmy Chin and team found a detached foot inside a boot and sock with A.C. Irvine written on the name tape, emerging from the ice on the central Rongbuk Glacier, and inadvertently discovered something which stood there for over 100 years. These boots found were the partial remains of 22-year-old Sandy Irvine, who disappeared with George Mallory while they were attempting to reach the summit in June 1924. Let's travel back to June 1924. George Mallory, a seasoned climber and a key figure in the early Everest expeditions. Known for his passion for climbing, Mallory, who was 37 years old, was widely regarded as one of the finest climbers of his generation. And Andrew Irvine was a 22-year-old engineering student from Oxford with limited climbing experience but remarkable mechanical skills. Selected for his expertise in modifying oxygen equipment, which was crucial for high-altitude climbing. The 1924 British expedition was led by Colonel Edward Felix Norton. Mallory and Irvine were a part of the team that made a push towards the summit. On June 8, 1924, Mallory and Irvine set for their final camp, aiming to reach the summit of Mount Everest. A veteran of 3 British Everest expeditions and among the greatest mountaineers, Mallory knew the world's highest mountain better than any other climber. He had come close to death there on 3 occasions. This time he was extra confident to achieve his dream. The two men were last seen by fellow climbers at an altitude of approximately 8,300 meters, just below the summit. The two men were seen by fellow climber Noel Odell, ascending in good spirits, and they appeared to be making steady progress. After that moment, Mallory and Irvine vanished into the mist. A search for them was unsuccessful and they were presumed dead. Despite various attempts to find clues about their fate, the mystery persisted for decades, till Mallory's body was found in 1999. The primary unanswered question regarding George Mallory and Andrew Irvine is whether they reached the summit of Mount Everest in 1924, as their bodies were found without conclusive evidence, and the camera that could have provided proof remains missing. Specifically, did they die on their descent after successfully reaching the top, or did they fall short of the summit? Irvine's camera, which might have contained photographic evidence to show the pair did actually reach the summit of Everest, was missing. In addition, a photograph of Mallory's wife Ruth, which he carried throughout his Everest expeditions and which he had pledged to leave on its peak, was also missing. Their remains brought some degree of closure to their loved ones, but the larger one we all await till this day. Hope we get an answer to what we might call as unwritten history. Let's sum it up with a beautifully written paragraph by George Mallory. Is this the summit crowning the day? How cool and astonished. Have we vanquished an enemy? None but ourselves. Have we gained success? The word means nothing here. Have we won a kingdom? No. And yes, we have achieved an ultimate satisfaction, fulfilled a destiny. To struggle and to understand, never this last without the other. Such is the law. Thank you very much.